Hello and welcome back to Factorio C Block. Last time we finished building our new blueprints, and I did go ahead and grab those Helmod plans to show you real quick if you'd like to see them. And as I mentioned in the last episode, if you would like to have a copy of them or the blueprints, come to our Discord server. You can find that in the description below, and come to the Factorio channel, I guess, and I can share them there. I'll probably create a thread for it just to keep it all together. So let's go in here and to the planner. And so the this one here, which is what makes the 75 mineral sludge, has, as I mentioned, a surplus of sulfuric wastewater, small amount. Has a surplus of mineralized water, large amount, which we are actually more than the actual mineral sludge, which we are using. Basically, no surplus oxygen. In fact, this is just rounding errors at this point. Or effectively rounding errors. A little bit of surplus hydrogen and a bunch of surplus saline water. Uses a tiny amount, relatively speaking, of charcoal and about a half a pump of water, rather. So that's the surplus there of the sulfuric wastewater. This is the surplus saline water. And as I mentioned, the oxygen is kind of a net zero. What it ends up doing is just using all the oxygen it can, and then whatever it needs to get to make more purified water, it grabs from here, because this is set with, of course, a top-up valve. So that takes care of that. I did build the second one at some point along the way. I can't remember if that was before or after the last episode. But that's basically this in a nutshell. So we get that 75 mineral sludge out and that 80-something mineralized water out, times 2, because we have 2 of them going. And those are right now getting pumped all the way over here to this end, or piped, rather. They're going to get altered here in the very near future, probably... if not before the next episode, then before the one after that. Because I would like to rearrange this whole area here, actually including that whole area. This whole area here to be, A, to not be right in the middle of the bus, but B, to be out of the way and able to expand in the future when we add in more stuff, which we're going to talk about shortly. And then, of course, we have here the fuel / power maker. It's set up to be adjustable so that you can produce more charcoal pellets or more charcoal if you would like to do that. The way that I have the plan written is for 4 machines making charcoal pellets and the rest being made into charcoal. But you can see here that this plan, this actually has 6 in this blueprint, and that was for kind of consistency here in these lines, but also because I could have done 2 lines of 6 instead of 3 lines of 4, but also so that you can have more of this or less of this depending on how you want to work it. Now, a lot of the recipes that I have this charcoal going to in the base is requires it actually to be charcoal. Things like this can just be fuel, but then like up here on the bus, or on the smelting, most of it can just be fuel, but the magnesium actually needs charcoal. So we can do the pellets here, but we'd have to have charcoal specifically here. This requires charcoal. And also those equivalents over in these blueprints also require charcoal. And then also the recipe here for carbon requires charcoal. So because it's only a handful of things actually using it as fuel outside of power, I just left the charcoal on that belt. But if you want to, fiddle with it, or maybe as suggested in a comment, I think, do half and half or something, you could do that. Just note that if you do half and half, then depending on how the machines take their fuel, you may end up with ones that are still using the charcoal, even though you have charcoal pellets available. So keep that in mind. This plan has, and of course it's getting dark again, this plan has a slight surplus of mineralized water. Actually not, that's just rounding error. Also rounding error on hydrogen gas, and then it has a surplus of oxygen gas on this side. And so right now, of course, we are flaring the oxygen, and we are sinking the the saline water also. And then it's the same kind of concept. Ideally, whatever is needed as the oxygen and the hydrogen is getting turned into purified water, and then that's getting capped here, or topped up here by this tank, or by this this hydro plant. So this ends up working almost the same way as the other. It just has a little bit different, and then obviously a lot of it different when you get it outside of this component. And this is obviously much smaller. So just kind of a quick summary there of those, since I didn't go through those in the actual episode. But today I want to talk about metal, because we've been talking about metal a lot, because that's kind of the big struggle with this game. So I have a few plans built already, and actually we have quite a few plans built. We can go all the way back here to the early sorting method. This is all about sorting and when we sort and what we sort and how we sort it. And in fact, this is advanced ore sorting that we're going to talk about here today. So we have, this is the plan that we're using for iron here, as well as copper up here. Because no matter which one you choose, the ratios are different, but the total is the same. And so in this case, we're producing 2 1/4 ore, which becomes 2 1/4 ingots, which becomes 22 1/2 liquid molten metal, and then it goes back into 2 1/4 plates. And those numbers are very consistent for 75 mineral sludge, which is the standard, because this is how much we're making here. So I've kind of kept that in balance, of course. So this is the recipe we're using right now for iron that's going into steel making, and then for copper that's going as a tertiary amount here, or tertiary input here. So there's that. And then we had the second one, which is the second tier iron ingot, which makes, or second tier molten iron rather, which makes its gets its iron from a hybrid, or a I can't remember the word now, where alloy of iron and manganese, which is gotten from this crushing recipe here, and that produces a total of 3 plates from 30 from 3, you get the idea. So all the way down from 75 again. Now this of course uses a lot more fuel in the process compared to this one, but you get a much cleaner iron recipe. So we're using that for the iron here. And then we have one final recipe, which I have encumbered here as, or explained here as copper and tin, but it's actually the same recipe that's used for copper and tin as is used for, actually no, I almost lied. These recipes here that are being used for lead and tin inside here are the same as the copper and the iron one here, in that they produce 2.25. But they also produce, well, we'll get to that in a second. So this one produces even amounts of copper and tin. So this is really great for this bronze recipe, for example, but also just to make sure we have enough tin and copper plates too, at least until we back one of them up or the other. This makes a total of 3 plates from 30 from 3, sourcing from, again, 75. So just to kind of recap what we've done before with this, because there's a new recipe in town, and that one is this one. Again, from the 75 rounding error, but that's because of rounding errors here. Although there is a way to cheese this a little bit. Let me show you if I can remember how to do this, because you can type a formula in here. So if I did 1, 2, 3, is it 8 divided by 3? Oh, it's still, no, it doesn't. It actually rounds it correctly. So 8 divided by 3 is 2.6667. Well, 6 infinitely. That gives us a 2.6667 iron plates for the source of that, and to kind of compare the fuels here, 0.015, 0.019, 0.017. So they're all in the same family. This one here is the big difference one, which is that raw iron recipe. But this is the most efficient way that we can make iron without having to also make the manganese. So at least right now, this recipe also applies to copper alone, tin alone, and lead alone. But a little more on that in a little bit. So, but this recipe requires us to make these mineral catalysts, which are made from mineral sludge. And so, in order to still only use 75, we have to be satisfied with 2.6667. If we wanted to make a little bit more, we'd have to use a little bit more, obviously. But this recipe is kind of nice because, similar to this one, which uses crushed sapphirite and crushed jivolite, although they're mixed again with rubyite here and then mixed together to make ferrous mixture, this one just takes the straight up crushed jivolite and crushed sapphirite, as well as the mineral catalyst, into the ore sorting facility 2, the second tier of that building, which will then make the ore at the same, 2.67, 2.67, 226.67, 2.67. Same scale or the same whatever, but it allows us to use that faster machine, because it is a little bit faster, in order to make a little bit more, but having to use this catalyst, and these catalysts are made in a crystallizer. So I have made one of those, but I forgot to make the crystallizer. I have made one of these, so we have that here. And this machine can make all the other recipes that we have had, also with the stereotype, all those same recipes we've been using here, as well as these new recipes we have not talked about yet, which is chunks, to also, and then also make these 4. Whereas these other ones, actually we could probably just do this now, because we're going to replace this anyway. Let's just go ahead and put this one down right now on top of that. And of course this will work because this recipe still exists, but we don't want that recipe anymore. We want this recipe instead, which we have the sapphirite in there. We don't have the jivalite connected yet, and we don't have a mineral catalyst being made. And we did pick up a bunch of stuff. Let's dump that out here. Okay, and then we now have one of these in pocket, so I can show you real quick that this does not have either that second or third row of recipes. It only has these original set of recipes we've been using all in here. So let's pick that up, and I need to make one more of these for later. We also have that, whatever this is called, machine here, and I want to take this a little bit sneaky, I think. I want to plug it into, I think I'm just going to plug it into this, actually. I think this will be fine. I want to make these mineral catalysts. They do not require input other than the sludge. So we're just going to take you like this, back that off. Oh, wait, that's not mineral sludge. It's not mineral sludge. Okay. In that case, sorry. But we're going to come back here. And we're going to back this up like that. And I'm just going to do this, I think. And then we'll do one of these numbers. And we'll have that there. And then I need to make these, and I need to belt them into the... gotta go up, I think, there. We'll belt these into this array here, and they're going to go right in here. So we're going to put a belt in right through here. I'm going to move all these power poles back by one, all down the row. Huh? Oh, it's out of range from that. Yeah, okay, we'll just go over there then. That's fine. We're actually going to have one there anyway, because we're going to, yeah. And we're going to have one here also, for reasons. So we're going to put those mineral catalysts into this, and we're going to take those from down here. I'm going to move this a little bit, maybe a little bit more than that. Yeah, that'll do. Here, we'll have to snake this belt up a little bit, but that'll be all right too. Like this, and then like that, and then like this, all the way into there. And then, let's see, this needs an inserter. Grab one. Ooh, I can just copy that. That'd be nice. Right there. That'll start putting those onto the belt, like that. And we just need 1/2 the belt. We don't need very many of these. As you saw from the plan, we need 0.667, which is 0.12 of these machines for this. And then it'll also be the same recipe for the copper, to make the copper with the same recipe. Because that's the good thing about these ore sorting recipes is each row follows the same recipe. Generally speaking, these two in the end here are different, of course, but each row follows the same recipe or the same structure. So you kind of have the same rules in both cases. But we still need to bring the jivalite in. So I think for that one, I'm going to split that here, actually. I could, and we could bring it this way and take it this way. And we need to move this up a little bit. So let's take you like this, make a little more room. That should be fine. We can go right there. And then this, of course, needs to move over. Actually, now I'm going to change my mind again. Which means I'm going to make a mess in my pocket here. We're going to put this back down there. This one is going to come around like this. this one's going to split there instead. This is going to be a mess, and then I'm going to do one of these numbers. Almost did it. I almost pulled it off correctly. It's fine. Actually, no, you can go straight. You can come with together, and then this can go like this. You can just have all of that stuff. That's fine. And then this can go in like this. Yeah, it's crazy, but I like it. There and there. And that'll get the Jivolite in there with the mineral catalysts. Put all that stuff in there already. Probably wasn't the best idea, but take some of it back. Put it in here instead, just for fun. And that'll output just iron. Instead of having the blend of 2 iron and 1 copper every time, it makes it a little bit cleaner, and we get a little bit more out of it for the same input material of the mineral sludge. So that means that this iron, or this copper belt here rather, is useless to us now. So I'm going to clean that out. Clean all the copper off of this belt. Clean it, clean it. And I think I have some in my pocket. I also have some iron in my pocket. There. And we can actually take this whole thing with us then, which I should have probably waited on that till then, but I also should wait till later. Let's take this whole thing out. All of it. I'm going to pick up all this iron. We'll go all the way to here. And actually, I'm going to change this way this works too. We're going to take all this out here. All this here. And I'm going to actually take this iron belt. It goes the other way out too, because we're going to do the same thing here with copper. And that recipe, of course, is going to be this one. And we could do the same thing with tin and lead too, with their respective combinations of minerals. Actually, let's just take a quick glance at that. Lead will take white and red, crotinium and rubyite. And tin would take steartite and bobmonium. So light blue and brown. Here we're taking in light blue and white, and then that one, of course, took blue and yellow, dark blue and yellow. So it feels like there's a couple missing. Maybe there are for later. I'm not sure about that, but it feels like there could be another blue someplace, another yellow someplace, another red someplace, and another brown someplace. Anyway, we're gonna go with this copper recipe once again. And I will dump that in there. And then I want to change this also. Let's go ahead and slurp this up just to make sure we get all that iron off of there. And I don't have the input there, of course, just yet. And I want to take this one this way, there, and here. And I think I'm going to move this down to there. Take this up. Oops, well, that's fine. Take this over into there. And I still want priority from this, because this is the mixture that we want to make sure we at least let the tin get taken out of here if we need to. So we'll keep that mixing like this, and so forth and so on. And then we need to have the crotinium, which is the white, here up into this. So we need to do the same kind of thing with this one as we did with the other one. I'm going to shift that over by 1 and then drop another one in here like that. This will get moved over to there. This is going to go in there. This will go in there, and we're just going to split this one right there, like this, and like this. And that'll take care of you. You'll get some of this stuff. We need to bring that belt of mineral catalysts over from way down below here. Uh-oh. I ran out of... no, I didn't. Wait, I did run out of undergrounds. I'll just make a couple. I've got them all, but I'm just going to make a couple. I must have an orphan someplace, too. Because, yeah. There we go. All right. So that should take care of that. And now this one is no longer dependent upon the copper belt, which I'm going to get rid of there. And the copper is no longer dependent upon the iron belt, which, in my opinion, is much better, because then you don't have the situation where one of them is backing up the other. And I'm just going to stuff all this in there. Maybe I'll stuff the output too here, like this. Because those things haven't gotten here yet, so we'll fill that output belt up. Because copper right now is backed up, which is backing up the ability to continue making steel. So now that we have this set up, we can make steel all we want. But I do want to add a couple more of these guys here, because we're burning through a belt. We're not going to need 3 long term, but for right now, we're burning through a belt, so I want to have 3 of those there. But that's kind of the gist of this. The extent of this, anyway. These guys can just go in there. This stuff here can just go on to here. And I think that's everything. I have 1 ore sorting facility left in my pocket now because I made that one wholesale. But I'm not going to do the the lead and the tin yet. Until we kind of know what we want to do with nickel and silicon, I don't want to stop making those whenever we have the need, or we have the need for one of these two. But it may come to pass that I end up replacing those, replacing these as well. If you have thoughts on that, by all means, let me know. But I just don't know what I don't know yet, and this is what I know yet. I shouldn't have done that. That was crazy. It's fine. So I think we're going to leave this here. Next time, I think it'll be a relatively simple build. In fact, let's go ahead and add something here to the queue, which is engines. And we'll see what that build looks like. I also want to add just a couple of utility things like explosives and gates. And one more thing, I think. Oh yeah, automation 2. These are things we don't really need as far as like something we're going to build with. I don't even know why gates are still in here. Maybe there's a reason why they're in here. Maybe it's for the train crossing safety gate thing. I'm not sure. I have to ask Darapumu, because otherwise I would remove them as part of pacifist. But I think that's the utilities. Oh, and fluid handling here too. Fluid barrel processing, rather. This one's kind of weak. Maybe we can talk about it briefly next time. But it's kind of weak in terms of something to talk about. So I wanted to just go ahead and burn through it at this point. That might be it for now. We might do fluid handling too at some point without much fanfare. But I think that's good for now. At least I'll let those run. And in the next episode, we can continue. With an engine build. And then I'll have more to go. And like I said, I may have this moved, but I don't think I'll have it moved before the next episode. So thank you all for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.